What if I told you that your age isn't the disadvantage you think it is? What if the very years you believe push you out of the dating game are the same ones that make certain women quietly obsessed with you? Because while most men worry about gray hair, wrinkles, or slowing down, women are noticing something else entirely, something that has nothing to do with appearance and everything to do with presence. See, there's a truth most men never realize. The qualities that come with maturity, your calm, your confidence, your wisdom, these are exactly what many younger women find magnetic. In fact, a fascinating study of thousands of women aged between 22 and 35 revealed something striking. They were consistently drawn to 9 key traits that older men display far more naturally than younger ones. But here's the problem. Most older men are completely blind to these strengths. Some even sabotage them without knowing it. And there's one mistake, a subtle, devastating one, that almost 9 out of 10 older men make. It's a single behavior that can destroy attraction faster than any other. I'll reveal it in a moment. But first, I need you to understand something. Once you truly grasp what she's really drawn to, the entire dynamic between you and women changes. So, before we dive deeper, take a second, hit subscribe, turn on the bell, because what you're about to discover may completely transform how you see yourself and how women see you. Let's begin with one of the most overlooked but powerful traits. 1. The art of storytelling. Younger men talk like they're reading from a resume. You've lived. You've seen things, done things, failed, loved, rebuilt, learned. And when you speak, your words carry the weight of experience. That's what captures her attention. There was a man named Robert, 58, retired, calm, grounded. He once told a woman about the time he got stranded in a small Italian village decades ago. No phone, no GPS, just human connection and improvisation. He told her how he spent 3 days learning to make pasta from a grandmother who spoke no English, fixing fences with strangers, laughing over mistakes. The story wasn't about showing off. It was about being human. And as he spoke, she leaned in, not because of what happened, but because of who he became through it. That's what younger women notice. Your stories aren't just events, they're lessons. You don't talk to impress, you talk to connect. You've learned that emotions matter more than facts, and that subtle difference makes you unforgettable. 2. Deep listening. In a world where everyone's talking, the man who truly listens becomes a rarity. You've lived long enough to understand that listening isn't about waiting for your turn to speak. It's about actually hearing what someone means, not just what they say. Younger women notice when you ask questions that show you remember details. Her favorite cafe, her recent project, something she mentioned in passing weeks ago. It's not that you're trying to win her over, it's that you care. And that quiet care stands out in a sea of distractions. Listening, for you, isn't passive. It's powerful. It's presence. It's the unspoken message that says, you matter. And in a world obsessed with self-promotion, that's irresistible. 3. Emotional and financial independence. Let's be honest, independence hits differently when you've earned it. You're not looking for someone to complete you or fill a void. You're already whole. That's rare energy. Take Michael, a 62-year-old architect who rebuilt his life after a divorce. Instead of rushing into another relationship, he learned to cook, traveled alone, started meditating, took photographs. He rediscovered his rhythm. When he finally started dating again, women were drawn to him, not because of money or status, but because of the peace he carried within himself. Younger women crave that sense of balance, the man who doesn't need them, but chooses them. Independence isn't distance, it's strength. It's the ability to share a life, not depend on one. And that difference changes everything. 4. Calm under pressure. You've seen enough of life to know that panic never solves anything. When problems arise, you don't react, you respond. That calmness, it's a kind of quiet power. Younger men might get flustered over small setbacks, a late reservation, a work issue, a disagreement. But you breathe, assess, adapt, and that composure makes her feel something few men ever do, safe. That's the hidden psychology behind attraction, security. Not financial security, but emotional. The kind that says, no matter what happens, I can handle it. Your calmness is the anchor in her storm, and that, more than any line or compliment, builds trust and attraction. 5. The mentor's touch. Now, this one's tricky because wisdom can become arrogance if you're not careful. The difference between being supportive and being patronizing is everything. David, a 60-year-old consultant, learned this the hard way. When a younger woman shared her work struggles, he immediately gave her a lecture, 10 steps, 3 principles, and a monologue. She tuned out. The next time, he simply asked questions, listened, and shared one short story from his past. Not as advice, but as perspective. This time, she lit up. That's the lesson. Women don't want a teacher. They want a partner who respects their mind. When you guide with empathy instead of ego, your wisdom becomes magnetic. 6. Emotional stability. With age comes emotional control, or at least it should. But here's the truth. Emotional stability isn't about suppressing feelings. It's about expressing them intelligently. You've learned that getting angry, jealous, or defensive solves nothing. You can feel deeply without losing control. You can disagree without disrespect. You can care without becoming clingy. Younger women pick up on that instantly. They're not drawn to emotionless men. They're drawn to balanced ones. The man who feels everything but lets nothing own him. That's masculine strength at its finest. 7. The fatal mistake. Most older men make now. This is the point that destroys attraction faster than anything else. And most older men don't even realize they're doing it. They become father figures. They think they're helping, protecting, advising, guiding. But what they're really doing is shifting the dynamic from romantic to paternal. And once that happens, attraction dies instantly. When a woman shares her dream or idea, she doesn't want a risk assessment. She wants emotional partnership, someone who listens, supports, and believes in her. The moment you start correcting her choices or teaching her how the world works, she stops seeing you as a man and starts seeing you as a mentor. You're not her father. You're her equal. Respect her autonomy, her instincts, her mind, because nothing kills desire faster than being treated like a student instead of a woman. 8. Quiet confidence. Confidence isn't loud. It's not about talking over others or showing off. It's about being completely at peace with who you are. James, 59, learned this after years of trying too hard to fit in with younger crowds. The clothes, the slang, the energy, none of it worked. When he finally dropped the act and started showing up as himself, calm, mature, authentic, everything changed. Quiet confidence doesn't say, "Look at me." It says, "I know who I am." And that's what women feel drawn to, not performance, but presence. You don't have to prove you're young. You just have to prove you're real. 9. Authentic presence. Let's end with the most powerful trait of all: authenticity. Richard, a 63-year-old retired firefighter, didn't have fancy pictures or clever bios on dating apps. He had a real smile, a few lines on his face, and a simple truth about who he was. And that's what made Sarah, a 31-year-old vet, stop scrolling. Because authenticity stands out. It's the rarest quality in today's world, to simply be genuine. No pretending, no image, no facade. When you show up as yourself, no filters, no performance, you give women something they can actually trust. And that's where real connection begins. Authenticity isn't about being perfect. It's about being real. And real is irresistible. Your age isn't a weakness. It's your advantage. The years have shaped you into someone deeper, calmer, and wiser. You don't need to chase attention. You command it by simply being you. So if you take one thing from this video, let it be this: stop trying to compete with younger men. You're not in their game. You've evolved beyond it. Be the man who listens, who feels, who leads calmly. The man who doesn't perform for love. He embodies it. Because when you do that, she won't just notice you. She'll never forget you. And before you go, if you found value here, make sure you hit subscribe and join this community. Because at Motive Lux, we don't just talk about attraction. We uncover the psychology behind it.